Now, good morning, everybody. I've got 18 minutes. How do we lead through difficult times? Slide number 1. We'll do an example here. Isaiah 26, verse 3 to 5. It's summarized. If the Lord will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is what stayed on him. So I agree with what Dr. Munywabe has read. I support the song that Maserati has sang. Hamaemo ali difficult. One of the key important things you need to do is to keep him, your mind in him. Keep a kelelo ya hao ho modimo ya tshepahalang. Most of us ha re feta maemong a tshwanang le a be re lebala ka ho tshepahala modimo re batla ho dila le maemo, and we make more mistakes. Am I right? So we are going to deal with, because those who trust him, he says, my Redeemer, they are my internal rock. Our God knew what's going to happen. He's not surprised. He's actually happy. If I was to tell you that Daddy Alimete already told me twice, to say now, Father, he said it, I kill one, he said it. Even the way he left, the wife said, I cleaned it up. For the last time, I'm all at Maggie. Good night. And he slept. What more do we want when a child of God is sleeping? Slept in his bed. Those were the last words he told his wife. After this, it feels comfortable. We can have arguments about many things, but I give more. I'm trying to help you move with the slide, next slide point, the next point. So we are saying, leading in the, how about that? There's a book I have, Leading at the Edge of Chaos by Darrell Conner. Or they defined leadership as a role played to address 3 aspects. 3 aspects. How about that in this book? Number 1, during turmoil, the organization and the people are growing and are learning. Out of confusion, out of chaos, keep the organization and people growing and learning. At the ultimate point, and keep an organization in an unending growth and renewal mode. This is the Kaizen. How about by tutor continuously? Now you must learn what it is to be dead, what it is to be alive, what you do, what you don't do. It's in chaos. We lead in a difficult time, but very emotional. Number 2, or take steps to understand the gap. What is the gap that our Joyce, must close? What is the gap? Tata was talking about the gap. It's a gap. We are living in chaotic. Now we understand, and limitations of understanding how to absorb the limits. How do we bring new changes and adapt to the situation? Ndadesiaka is going to have to sit down in his zone and say, who was the best leader? There's a movement, only changes and adjustments. Why? Your death, your departure, how? Am I talking to the church this morning? So I'm talking to leaders. That's why I'm adamant around no leader is going to abandon training and development, because we understand he lived, he worked, he served, he rested. So we are moving forward, and our patriarch Moses, and whose life and we find Christianity, Islam, Judaism, he had a situation exactly like this. Move on. Next slide, please. What is the objective that I'm trying to point to you today? 3 things I want you to take. Take time to heal, lest you bleed on others. How lemetse haholo, o tlile botlhoko haholo. Nka nako o phomole hobane o tlo tshela batho ka madi. You are bleeding. You are hurting. It is normal to hurt. It is good when you hurt. Take time to rest. That's point number 1. Because when you lead and you are bleeding, because both of you are bloody. And madi ambato asal contagious. Actually, all kinds of sicknesses. So be careful. The point we're going to learn here is be careful. Don't bleed on others when you are bleeding. Number 2, do your best to focus on the assignment. We are leaders. We are the church. Don't worry about many things. Focus on the assignment. How much hlokahala heno ngwaneno ngwana bolona hlokahala. Dintho a pele e bohlokwa ha se o tseba hobaneng a hlokahetse gore re thusa jwang. It's our role. We are a church. You are a normal human being. How the issue is, what is the assignment? I support you, I help you. It's our duty. And because how say to understand now, any pain brings assignment and activates the assignment. Focus on the other things that don't matter. What is your focus? What is the assignment? Do your best to focus on the assignment and on your calling and manage your emotions. We all are emotional. I did not know Tuesday night, I did not know I think you are in that. And now that kids bakan now se ke shwetswe ke batho ba bangata ke ba ratang ha ke sa latata ka pele ke dumela hore ke le khanogo ke ilele nna Jesu o itse ilelang lona le bana ba lona ka itilela nna self ka re ke lahletswe ke ngwaneso ke someone ke mo first ke sa koloi ya ka ke re mpotsa mo lata eleng khomo ile metse ka poeng ha le teta le nke nama ele e batang le nsiele khomong. That is the kind, I've suffered a loss, but I manage my own emotions and how I feel. So that I'm not there to open the wound. I sat down with the wife and we encouraged them. I did my best. I did my best. So are many of you. We are understanding an assignment. Now, the point 3, have a sounding board, engage with one another who is not hating as you want to make sober decisions. How fit in a painful, chaotic situation, because how can put because next slide in Tiki, let's move. Now, in our case, we study the life of Moses and Aaron, who are both leaders, and their sister Miriam have just died. In the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 1 to 13, Moses, the man who was able to open the Red Sea, who was able to do many other things, who was able to see God in a powerful way. Face to face. Miriam washwa, Aaron, Liena. So this family is grieving already. And now look what happens. Because they were grieving, the congregation put Theo, complain about lack of water and accuse him of wanting them to die. Come on, Miriam, I'm protector. I Nile River. That's why about how not kuku. What business does that help you? How much when now don't go there, satanics. What kind of people are we? But Moses had told about to supporter, because Caesar to be a leader, because people how they leader was not about but they demanded out of Moses, give us water. Because how about to understanding what you are going through? Their demands on you are still high. Am I in the church of our? So Moses is dealing with the loss of her own sister. And he's standing with Aaron, the priest, who is his own brother. And then Moses does something. Then Moses went to the tent of meeting. Yeah, but what was Moses? We are tenting Yakopanele Mudimu Abuisana Liena. And Moses spoke to Tamaya Obablele. This is what I'm telling you. Move on. Then God spoke and gave him an instruction. He gives them Aaron, the priest, and Moses, the prophet. The instruction. In the midst of their own pain, habayi humudimu bamobulele ka mo ba utlweng bohloko ka teng ka ausi wa bona ya hlokahetse ba tla humudimu ba tlo mo bolela ka di demands tsa batho go khotsofatsa nama. And that was one of the serious, vital mistakes I'm going to warn you about. And you're going to listen to this. And then Mutimar gathered the people. Moses gathered the people, speak to the rock before their eyes, and the rock will give you water. Mutimar bitsa bona batho bao. Ubue bao shebile. And he gathered them batla. This instruction is simple. Speak to the rock. The rock will yield water. Next slide. And then immediately he gathered the people and he said, look at the attitude and the Motaung. He does not speak to them with the attitude of a priest because he has failed to present his pain before God. He says, you rebels. Number one, how you will speak and hurt other people. He said to them, come here, you rebels. Number two, he involved himself in an assignment of God. He wanted to share the glory by default. I don't think he wanted to. He was too angry. He was too broken. He did not hear himself think and speak. Are you people, you are rebels. Utori, must we bring water out of this rock? What did God say? Harry, God is going to bring, or must we? He includes himself in the formula of the God. And that God does not like. Even if you are broken, God does not share his glory with anybody. The glory of God is the glory of God. It's untouched. It's left alone. So we see emotional intelligence is not right. We see anger is picking up on Moses, and it says, we must bring one. Then look what the instruction was to do: what? Speak, speak, speech, speak. Bua. Moses, instead of speaking, he took the rod and he hit the rock twice. And look at, even if you are disobedient, Mudimun ta hlonofatsa batho, but wena o sa tlo dila le wena. He was disobedient. Metsi a tswile. Batho ba no ba thaba. Look at how God deals with him. Let's move on with the slide. Both God said, Mudimu or had dealing with Moses about the issue of disobedience. Or number one, Moses, privately. He deals with them privately. He says, one, you did not believe me when I said speak, because you did your own thing. I said speak, you hit. Disobedience. And number two, you did this thing, you failed to praise my name publicly. Where now to omanya privately, mara faith public, and yet these people did not even hear how much Moses and Aaron. Because be careful what we do publicly. Maybe you are failing God because you are doing things publicly, and he's rebuking you privately. And he says to Moses, Moses, here's your punishment. I'm gonna do something. I'll come now. Because you did this thing, you are going to die. How no Gena in the promised land. But what I'll make you, I'll take you to the Mount Horeb. I'll make you see more had you obeyed me. So can you see Moses the promised land, unmanaged grief. Am I in the church this morning? Because had he gone to God and said, Lord, I'm so broken. Oh Lord, what can we do? Maybe God would have done something. Because you did what? You disobeyed me. And then what? However, I think in Deuteronomy 30 and so on, I don't have time. Moses, Moses. Now both of you, when Moses, Aaron, why Aaron is part of the penalty? He's part of the executive council that God entrusted. He should have said, so he failed to correct Abdiai because out of one death, the whole family of Moses suffers. Number one, when Moses take Aaron to Mount Horeb, right? Come on, Horeb, half it more. He's going to die. He takes out the priestly garments. Uri apesa Elysia. Come on. Eleazar, yes. Eleazar. Omo apesa tona. And God takes his life. He dies. Because here is a revelation for you. The priestly assignment and clothing don't die with you when you go down. That's why when I'm la shwela ele motho wa seaparo ba seng ka ba fa motho mong seaparo sa hae. Mara woe to you when you die, you take what is the symbol of God's presence with you. He took it to a living human being. Modimo ba re wena Moses, because wena o ordainwe ke nna. Nna le wena ha re ye the same place where he told him what to do and say. I bring Joshua, Kitom inaugurator before you in the tabernacle. and then you will go to the Mount Horeb. And he took out the authority, gave it back to Joshua, and Moses went with God. And Mudimo are, because went a apostle, I'm not rejecting you, I'm just removing you, I'm taking you. And maybe the area mo Mudimo amu being on Mount Horeb on the valley. How na motho a tsebang gore Moses o patuwe kae ba tsebang se topo sa se o kae go fitlela le ka jeno, because Modimo o na o bone gore motho na wa nrata mara o tlile bohloko. I will not destroy him, I will just rescue him. That's why Remona a hlaela in the Mount of Transfiguration, how tla Elijah go tla le Moses, because Modimo la o ka wa etsa phoso yena mo ha wa hao o ntse o lekane ka mehla yohle. Move on, let's close. Leadership lesson. Your conduct has immense value. When you are broken, number two, when you are in a leadership as the 2IC, number two, you help your leader to make the best and correct decisions. How do you Mara, who how stop Ne? Number three, don't share in God's glory regardless what. Manage your grief by allowing room for others to lead whilst you follow. How feel out it's right. He brings leaders and he stands behind. You learned from front, the back, and the middle. Don't make the mistake of wanting to be a leader at all costs, at all times. You will make a mistake. Let's close. As we mourn the sudden passing of Abraham Podialimeti, may we continue to make God decisions in line of his word. May God help us as a church as we are going through this process, supporting them, healing ourselves, adjusting ourselves in our leadership corners. Let's not make the mistake Moses, Number two, let's adjust well to the departure of a fallen man amongst us. He has rested. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord prosper you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and give you peace. May God be with you. May God be your strength. In this week, Banabeso, Reatsidisanang, Reahotatsanang, Piluaka utlile bohloko haholo. Le wena ha utlile bohloko haholo. In this week, let's carry each other, but let's not forget because next time you'd want men and women to carry him. The last thing I want to tell you, don't drop the ball. May God bless you.